You want to get into comic books and don't know where to start? Here comes the help you need. Now, depending on your budget and which character or universe you want to learn more about, there are a couple of options. Let's start off with choosing your preferred type of comic book. The basic option is collecting single issues. It might be a little problematic because it requires you to follow each series individually and make sure you don't miss a singular issue. The price of $6 for an issue also doesn't help the case. Then you have the trade paperbacks, which are usually the best value for an average collector and are probably the best, except for DC, but I will talk about that later. Seriously, they are amazing. For the price of $15, you get to read a 6-issue story, but I have to add that the price and the amount of issues collected may vary. Your next option are hardcovers, name speaks for itself. You get exactly the same things you get in trade paperbacks, just at a higher price, but collected in a nicer way, usually about $30. Now we get into the big leagues. Omnibuses tend to collect either the whole storyline or everything released by a certain artist or writer for about $125-$150, but you can usually get them for about $90. Personally, I think they are definitely the most aesthetically pleasing and are definitely the best way to collect complete runs. There are also compendiums which give you the same amount of content as an omnibus, just split into parts and for about $60. Now I have to mention one of two things that only DC has, which are the Absolute Editions. They cost about the same as omnibuses, but contain the same amount of stories as trade paperbacks do, but are way larger in size. I would recommend getting them only if you already have a favorite DC story and want it collected in the most premium way possible. Now, you should choose your comic store. You have to do that yourself based on your location. Personally, since I am from Poland, I shop at Atom Comics. Internationally, I definitely think that Amazon is the best option you have. This video isn't sponsored by anyone, by the way. Now we get into the universes. For this video, I will only cover Marvel and DC, because I think it's the best way to start your adventure with comic books. For the Marvel universe, I would certainly recommend starting with reading Spider-Man, and for that start, I believe that you should pick up the original Spider-Man stories created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Also, cult classics like Kraven's Last Hunt, Spider-Man Blue, Superior Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, both the new one and the old one, of course, by Brian Michael Bendis, and of course J. Michael Straczynski's run. I also have to mention Spider-Man Epic Collection, which is a series that reprints some fun and sometimes lesser known Spider-Man stories, which are also a good way to get into the comics. I personally started reading Marvel Comics with Civil War and Todd McFarlane's run on Spider-Man, and I highly suggest reading both. Now we get into the DC universe, and things get complicated because you have a lot of places to start from. Let's say you just watched the new Superman movie directed by James Gunn and want to learn more about the character. Fortunately for me, DC Studios published a list of comic books which they based the movie on, and they are a great way to get to know the character. The comic books are All-Star Superman, Superman Birthright, Superman for All Seasons, Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow, and Kingdom Come. You want to learn more about Batman? Go ahead then, read Batman Year 1, The Long Halloween, The Killing Joke, or Hush. Point is, the DC universe has been retconned so many times that it's hard for me to tell you where to start, because I honestly have no idea. But now I will come back to the thing I mentioned when talking about trade paperbacks, which are the unbelievably cheap and awesome DC compact comics. They are honestly the best way for anyone to get into comics, since they are only $10 and showcase some of the best and most important stories like the aforementioned Long Halloween or Birthright. These are seriously great, because let's say that you liked comic books and want to share your new passion with your friends. Would you lend them your omnibus? Probably not, but a compact comic? Hell yeah. So if you're looking for a place to start reading DC, I'd recommend you to pick up The Court of Owls Saga, Batman Hush, Batman The Long Halloween, All-Star Superman, Superman Birthright, Joker by Brian Azzarello and Lee Bermejo, and Watchmen, of course in the Compact Comics edition. I'm Comic Book Maniac, and if you enjoyed the video, make sure to comment, like, and subscribe. Also, please let me know if you would like me to dive deeper into each character and explain why each comic is worth reading.